Nothing had ended officially. No words, no closure, just a day that looked like any other. I moved through it normally, same rhythm, same steps, but something felt slightly removed from before. No break, no clear line, just a quiet shift in how things held together. Before it became final, nothing changed outside. No signal, no sound, just a silence that didn't reverse. That didn't reverse. The run felt familiar, same route, same pace, but every step carried something unspoken. I didn't question, didn't define, no need to confirm, just movement through something close. And I then did things with clarity, clean lines, clear choices, but this stayed uncertain. Before it became final, there was no decision, no point to mark, just something I didn't undo. The distance built without force, not escape, not intent, just separation quietly taking form. The road didn't change, but I did not suddenly, not completely, just enough to not return. No witness to this shift, no proof it was right, only the absence of continuation. Before it became final was already after, not because I chose, but because I didn't go back. Some endings don't arrive, they accumulate until nothing remains to hold. Before it became final, held everything, not clarity, not release, just the moment I didn't continue. Nothing stopped, nothing broke, still it ended. Nothing looked out of place, same room, same light, shoes where they always were, like nothing had already shifted. I moved slowly through routine, not careful, just aware every action slightly heavier than it should have been. No one would call this a moment, no signal to remember, still something quietly closed. Before I didn't come back, everything stayed unchanged, no break, no sound, just a silence that already knew I wouldn't return. The run felt familiar, same route, same pace, but each step held something final without saying it. I didn't rush, didn't slow, no urgency to define it, just movement through something ending. I've left before I turned back without thought, but this felt different. Before I didn't come back, there was no decision, no line I crossed, just something I didn't reverse. The distance grew without effort, not escape, not avoidance, just separation becoming real. The road didn't change, but I did, quietly, completely, without needing to say it. No witness to the shift, no proof it was right, only the absence of return. Before I didn't come back was already after, not because I chose, but because I stayed gone. Some come back. The machine hums like always, nothing unusual. Same detergent, same cycle, but I know this isn't just routine. Clothes I've worn through everything, early starts, unfinished runs, days I stayed, days I left, all turning slowly again. No one would notice what this is, no signal, no announcement, just a quiet act before something ends. The last watch before I go, not dramatic, not loud, just letting go of what stayed longer than it should. The fabric holds more than sweat, more than distance, more than I said out loud when I didn't have words. I thought I needed more time, more clarity, more reason, but this feels final. Not because everything is clear, but because I'm no longer waiting. The last wash doesn't fix anything. It just separates what I carry from what I release. The cycle ends, no signal, no shift, just stillness after motion, like something has settled inside. I don't check, I don't rush, no need to confirm. I already know this part is over. No return to how it was, no reason to keep it unchanged. The last wash before I step into something I haven't named. Not lighter, not heavier, just different. Some endings don't speak, they just stop holding on. The last wash was enough, not closure, not resolution, just the moment I didn't take it back. The machine stops, the room stays, and I leave. I didn't decide to stay, no clear reason held me, just a moment that didn't end when it could have. The room was quiet, unchanged, nothing pulled, nothing pushed. Still, I didn't leave when leaving made sense. I've had reasons before, clear intentions, defined lines, but this had none and still remained. No thought, still here, no answer, still present, nothing driving, nothing stopping, just remaining. The road didn't call, it existed. The steps didn't lead, they happened. Time passed unnoticed, yet I stayed. Someone moved past, or maybe not. I didn't check, didn't follow. The world kept its distance, and I kept mine. I've left for less, stopped for nothing, but this didn't end. No thought, still here, no meaning, still real, no direction, no move. I didn't plan to be here. No schedule, no design, just movement that started before I questioned it. The road unfolded without asking, no signal to follow. Still my steps aligned with something I couldn't name. I've chased reasons to find purpose, constructed meaning before, but this exists without it. No thought, still forward, no reason, still moving one step without direction, and somehow it continues. The pace holds without control, breath settles without effort, distance builds without intent. Still, it happens. Someone passed, or maybe not. I didn't mark, didn't measure. The world stayed distant, and I stayed within. I've stopped for less, turned back for nothing, but this didn't break. No thought, still forward, no clarity, still here. No plan, no outcome, just motion that remains. Time dissolves into steps, repetition without weight. Each moment unclaimed yet real. The road doesn't lead, it allows no demand, no promise, just space for something to continue. No moment to define, no shift to mark, still something holds. No thought, still forward, no meaning, still true. No answer, still present, and that is enough. Not everything needs awareness, some things exist beyond it. No thought, still forward, and now I see not why, not how, just that I didn't stop, no start, no end, still forward. I didn't plan to be here, no schedule, no design, just movement that started before I questioned it. The road unfolded without asking, no signal to follow. Still my steps aligned with something I couldn't name. I've chased reasons to find purpose, constructed meaning before, but this exists without it. No thought, still forward, no reason, still moving one step without direction, and somehow it continues. The pace holds without control, breath settles without effort, distance builds without intent. Still, it happens. Someone passed, or maybe not. I didn't mark, didn't measure. The world stayed distant, and I stayed within. I stopped for less, turned back for nothing, but this didn't break. No thought, still forward, no clarity, still here. No plan, no outcome, just motion that remains. Time dissolves into steps, repetition without weight. Each moment unclaimed yet real. The road doesn't lead, it allows no demand, no promise, just space for something to continue. No moment to define, no shift to mark, still something holds. No thought, still forward, no meaning, still true. No answer, still present, and that is enough. Not everything needs awareness, some things exist beyond it. No thought, still forward, and now I see not why, not how, just that I didn't stop. No start, no end, still forward. I didn't decide to go out, no clear reason, no fixed intent, just shoes by the door and a moment I didn't interrupt. The road was there, like always, unchanged, uninviting. Still I moved without asking what this was for. I've made plans, set targets to find purpose before, but this felt sentence, and I kept mine. No pressure to continue, no reason to stop, just a line I didn't step away from. I'd stop for less, turn back for nothing, but this didn't break. No decision, still running, no clarity, still here, no finish, no outcome, just motion that remained. The distance built quietly, not chased, not forced. The pace found shape without direction. Time passed, unnoticed, steps repeated, unquestioned. Something continued without me naming it. No moment to define, no shift to mark, still something held. No decision, still running, no meaning, still real, no reason, still present, and that was enough. Not everything begins with choice, some things just don't stop. No decision, still running, and now I see not why, not how, just that. I didn't leave, no answer, no ending, still moving. I didn't start with purpose, no clear reason to be there. Just a pair of shoes and a quiet road to run I could have skipped. The morning felt unresolved, not heavy, not light, just something unfinished I didn't want to name. I've left before, cut, run short, turned back early, called it enough. No consequence, no memory that stayed. I stayed, that was it, no moment, no shift, just didn't leave when I could. One step, then another, without explanation. You passed without noticing, not fast, not slow, just moving in a way that didn't ask anything. And somehow that was enough, not to follow, not to change, just to remain when leaving made sense. I've needed reasons in the past, goals, targets, something to hold, but this felt different. I stayed, that was it, no clarity, no meaning, just the absence of stopping, the absence of turning back. The road extended without effort, distance happened without force, the pace found itself without instruction. You were gone, or maybe not, I didn't check, didn't need to. Something had already settled. No realization, no conclusion, no point to define, still something remained after I stayed, that was it, not strength, not discipline, just continuation without negotiation. Not everything needs a reason, some things just don't stop. I stayed, that was it, and somehow that was enough. Not everything changed, but I didn't leave again. Nothing dramatic, nothing resolved, still something held. I didn't plan to commit, just a short run to clear something. Shoes tied loosely, mind unsettled, a distance I could walk away from. The road felt neutral, nothing pulling, no direction, just moving until I saw it already in motion. No signal, no intention, no reason to stay longer, still something shifted without asking. alert. The pace found itself not faster, not stronger, just continuous. You stayed ahead, unaware, no exchange, no moment, still present in every step I took. No explanation, no closure, no reason to remember. Still, it remained after. I saw that I stayed, and that was enough, not to change everything, just enough to continue beyond what I planned. You didn't know, you didn't try, still you matter. I saw that I stayed, and now I run, not toward you, not because, but because I didn't leave. Nothing was said, nothing was asked, still something remained. I wasn't planning to go far, just enough to say I tried. Shoes half tied, mind elsewhere, a run without commitment. The road felt distant, like it wasn't mine. Steps placed without intention, just movement without direction. Until I saw you. You didn't notice, you didn't slow, no signal to follow. Still something shifted. You run, nothing more, no words, no reason, but something in that moment made stopping impossible. You weren't perfect, not effortless, just steady in a way. I wasn't that quiet, unbroken movement. No pressure to match you, no thought to chase, just a feeling I couldn't step away from. I've seen faster, stronger, cleaner runs, but this felt closer to something real. I just saw you run, and that was enough, not to change everything, just enough to stay one step longer. The road didn't shift, but I did a small adjustment, without force, without thought, just continuing. You stayed ahead, not far, not close, just present in a way I couldn't ignore. No moment to define it, no reason to explain, still it stayed after. I just saw you run, and it remained, not your pace, not your distance, but the way you kept going. You didn't know, you didn't try, still it mattered. I just saw you run, and now I move, not towards you, not to match, just forward in a way I couldn't before. I didn't follow you, I followed what it showed. I almost stayed inside that morning, shoes untouched, time unclaimed, no urgency to begin, just a day I could let pass. Then I saw you, not approaching, not announcing, just already moving through the road like it belonged to you. No introduction, no context, no reason to remember, but something in that motion refused to fade. The runner I saw didn't speak, didn't look, didn't slow, just kept moving in a way I couldn't ignore. Not perfect, not effortless, just consistent, unbroken, a rhythm that didn't ask for attention. And somehow that was enough, not distant, not close, just enough to exist in my mind. No words, no exchange, no shared moment to define it. Still something remained after. The runner I saw became direction, not because you led, but because you moved. Maybe you don't know what stayed with me, but something did. The runner I saw still moves through every run, not in front, not behind, but present in a way I can't explain. I didn't follow you, I followed what it left. I wasn't planning to go out, shoes stayed still by the door. No reason strong enough to begin, just another day I could let pass. Then I saw you, not fast, not perfect, just moving with something I couldn't ignore. No words, no signal, no invitation to follow, just a rhythm that existed without asking. Seeing you run changed something, not pressure, not comparison, just a quiet pull toward a step I hadn't taken. Yeah, yeah. You didn't look back, didn't check who was there, just forward, steady, unaffected by anything around you. And somehow that made it clear this wasn't about you, it was about what I saw in myself. Not speed, not distance, just consistency, just presence, something I had forgotten. Seeing you run made it simple, one step was enough, not to catch you, not to match you, just to begin again. The road felt different, not easier, but clearer. Each step less hesitation, more alignment. You were still ahead, not far, not close, just enough to remind me what movement looks like. You never spoke, never tried, but something in your run stayed with me. Seeing you run became direction, not chasing, not proving, just moving toward what I knew I could be. Maybe you don't know you changed anything, but you did. Seeing you run still moves me through distance, through time, not because of who you are, but because of what I saw. I didn't follow you, I followed what it showed. He left before the street could fill with sound. Door half closed, keys forgotten, a life still arranged behind him, but something refused to be left there. She kept the rhythm perfectly intact, measured pace, controlled breath. Every mile accounted for, still something unaccounted remained. No pursuit, no pressure, just a presence that didn't follow because it never left. Running from what stayed, didn't create distance. No matter the pace, no matter the miles, it was already there within every step I took. Another ran harder to outrun the weight, longer routes, tighter splits, precision increased, but clarity did not arrive. He had reasons he could defend, the logic well constructed, but what remained didn't respond to justification. Different lives, different exits, same quiet presence, unchanged, persistent, unmoved. Running from what stayed only revealed how close it always was. Not slowly, without signal. Not a stop, not a turn, just a realization that distance was never the answer. The road continued unchanged, but the meaning did not. Each step less escape, more exposure. No confirmation, no resolution, only the absence of denial growing clearer. Running from what stayed became direction, not avoidance, not escape, but a movement toward what remained true. Not everything can be outrun, some things wait without leaving. Running from what stayed was never distance, it was recognition, arriving step by step until I stopped running away. It never followed, it never moved, it was always there. He tried to move as if nothing changed. Same routine, same pace. Every step carefully placed inside a version he could still maintain. She repeated patterns that once held meaning, measured days, structured effort. But something within the motion refused to align anymore. No collapse, no visible break, just a quiet presence that followed through everything left undone. The truth I couldn't escape didn't chase me, it stayed unmoved through every step, through every attempt to return unchanged. Another ran to outrun it, faster pace, longer miles, but distance doesn't dissolve what remains internal. He had reasons he could justify, a logic that held together, but truth doesn't negotiate with comfort or delay. Different lives, different exits, same quiet presence, persistent, unavoidable. The truth I couldn't escape didn't demand anything, it simply remained until I stopped running from it. The moment shifted, not outside but within. The resistance lost structure and something settled. The road stayed the same, but the distance felt different. No longer an escape, but a path toward. No signal, no confirmation, only a clarity that no longer required proof. The truth I couldn't escape became direction, not imposed, not forced, just present in every step that I chose to take. Not defeat, not surrender, just recognition that life without permission. The truth I couldn't escape keeps unfolding, not louder, not clearer, but closer with every step to something I accept. I didn't find it, it stayed until I stopped leaving. He held it together longer than expected, everything in place, nothing collapsing, a structure intact from the outside, but inside something had already shifted. She moved through routines that once aligned, measured effort, predictable days, until repetition stopped convincing what it used to justify. No visible break, no signal, just a quiet pressure building beneath what still looked fine. The point of no denial doesn't announce itself. No warning, no sound, just a moment that no longer accepts avoidance. Another and a practice, route pace, consistent breath control, but something within the motion felt disconnected. He had reasons he could defend, metrics that supported every left unrecorded, but undeniable. The point of no denial doesn't force action. It simply removes the option to pretend any longer. The first step after that felt unchanged. Same road, same pace, but the runner was no longer divided. The distance carried clarity, not resolution, not relief, just alignment without resistance. No applause for this moment, no confirmation. It was right, only the absence of argument within. The point of no denial holds its ground through hesitation, through distance, through every thought that suggests return. Not a breakthrough, not a choice, just recognition. Arriving without permission. The point of no denial keeps unfolding. Not easier, not defined, but closer with every step to something inescapable. Nothing changed, but nothing could be denied again. He didn't notice when it started, no shift he could name. Just a routine carried forward until it wasn't enough anymore. She moved through days that looked complete, everything in place, nothing missing. But something subtle stopped responding to what once felt right. No disruption, no visible break, just a quiet distance growing between what was lived and what was felt. Where it became clear wasn't loud, no signal, no turning point, just a moment that didn't argue any longer. Another ran a familiar route, pace consistent, breath controlled, but something inside the motion felt unclaimed. He had reasons he could explain, a system that held together, but clarity doesn't always follow structure. Different lives, different thresholds, same quiet moment when saying lost its meaning. Where it became clear didn't resolve anything, it simply removed what I could no longer pretend. The first step after that felt different, not stronger, just irreversible. The road didn't change, but I did, and suddenly everything aligned without force. No confirmation, no approval, no sign that it was right, only a stillness that remained after doubt left. Where it became clear held its ground through hesitation, through distance, through every urge to return to what was known. Not a breakthrough, not a decision, just recognition, arriving late but exact. Where it became clear keeps unfolding, not easier, not defined, but closer with every step to something undeniable. No one saw it, no one named it, but nothing after was the same. He left without closing the loop, no explanation left behind. A structure that once made sense now felt internally contradicted. She moved through days that looked complete, everything placed where it belonged, but alignment had quietly withdrawn without notice. No collapse, no visible fracture, just an absence of conviction, a slow awareness that continuing was no longer truth. Where truth led me wasn't clear, no signal, no map, just a direction that refused to be ignored any longer. Another stood on a familiar route, pace consistent, breath controlled. But something within the motion no longer felt like choice. He had reasons he could defend, measured effort, structured goals. But meaning doesn't always submit to logic. Different life, different exits, same internal pivot, unmarked, unspoken but final. Where truth led me felt uncertain, unrefined, unproven, but grounded in something that didn't ask permission. The first steps carry dissonance, not resistance, but unfamiliar truth, like stepping into something already known but never lived. The road didn't promise anything, no reassurance, no structure, just presence, and the weight of choosing again. No applause for this direction, no confirmation that it was right, only distance, quietly acknowledging what had shifted. Where truth led me held its ground through hesitation, through distance, through every moment that suggested return. Not rebellion, not escape, just coherence. Finally restored a version of me, no longer divided. Where truth led me keeps unfolding, not easier, not defined, but closer with every step to something I recognize as mine. No one saw it, no one named it, but I knew I had already arrived. He woke before the noise could define the day. No urgency, just awareness. A life arranged with careful reasoning, but something within it felt misaligned. She followed patterns that once made sense, measured days, predictable routes, until repetition lost its integrity and silence began to question everything. No rupture, no collapse, just a gradual erosion of certainty. A quiet recognition that continuing was no longer truth. A direction that felt honest, not certain, not safe. No guarantees, just alignment was something I couldn't ignore. Another stood still at a familiar threshold, between expectation and something unnamed. No language for what shifted, only the sense that staying had changed. He had numbers he could justify, a pace that held structure, but meaning rarely submits to logic alone. Different lives, different fractures, same quiet turning, unrecorded, unseen, but irreversible. A direction that felt honest, not easier, not clear, but grounded in something that didn't need approval. The first steps carried hesitation, not resistance, just unfamiliarity, like walking into a version of life unpracticed. The road didn't open, it revealed gradually, without promise, each step confirming nothing but presence. No applause for this kind of change, no marker for internal shifts, only distance, quietly acknowledging what had begun. A direction that felt honest held its way through doubt. that is mine. No one named it, no one saw it, but I knew I had already changed. He left before the light could settle, keys untouched on the table, life arranged with careful logic, but something in it no longer held. She traced the same route for years, predictable turns, familiar ground, until repetition lost its meaning and silence started asking questions. No collapse, no dramatic break, just a subtle fracture, uncertainty, a quiet refusal to continue as expected. The road I chose instead didn't promise clarity, no markers, no guarantees, just a direction that felt honest enough to follow. Another stood still at the threshold between obligation and something unnamed. No language for the shift, only a sense that staying was no longer neutral. He had numbers he could defend, a pace that made sense, but meaning doesn't always align with precision. Different lives, different fractures, same quiet pivot, no one records. The road I chose instead felt uncertain, uneven, unproven, but it moved with something I couldn't ignore. Not rebellion, not escape, just alignment long overdue. But I chose instead keeps unfolding, not easier, not clearer, but closer to something I recognize as mine. No one named it, but I knew I had already left. Nothing looked different, same street, same shoes, same quiet morning air. No signal that today would matter. I've started runs before without thinking, just habit, but this felt slower, heavier, like it meant something. No one told me to do this, no voice, no pressure, just a moment we're leaving and staying it. The day I decided, nothing changed outside, no crowd, no sound, just something inside that didn't turn back. The first steps felt quiet, not powerful, not fast, just certain in a way I hadn't felt before. The road didn't ask for more than I could give, but I knew this wasn't just another run. I stopped before, turned back, called it enough, but this was different. The day I decided to stay, to keep going without negotiation, no adjustment, no exits, just forward. It wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, just a line I didn't cross back over. The day I decided to boost through every run, not faster, not stronger, but clearer than anything before. Nothing changed, but I did. The street was empty before the light, no noise, no reason. Shoes in place, waiting quietly, like they knew this wouldn't be easy today. The plan stayed still on the screen, unchanged, unmoved, written by a version of me that didn't hesitate, that didn't soften. I remember that moment clear, uncomfortable. It just continues, unaware of doubt or hesitation. I've been once before, adjusted pace, reduced effort, called it control, but something always felt missing. The run that doesn't bend feels different, not easy, not smooth, but complete in a way nothing else does. No one sees this decision, no marker for this moment, just a quiet line that didn't move. Now I feel it clearly, nothing is wrong. This is exactly what I chose before this ride began. The pressure didn't change it, the doubt didn't move it, only I remain. The run that doesn't bend becomes something, not speed, not strength, but truth carried step by step. The run ends, but that line stays. The room stayed quiet long after I woke. No urgency, no reason to rush. Shoes waited where I left them, like they knew this wouldn't be an easy start. The plan's still there on the screen, clear numbers unchanged, written by a version of me that didn't hesitate, that didn't doubt. I remember how it felt when I wrote it, uncertain, like I understood what this run would ask. Hold the original, don't move it now, not here, not when it turns. The moment you planned for is finally here, stay with it, just stay. The first steps felt unfamiliar, like I borrowed a slower body breath, arrived too early, stride didn't match the memory. Nothing dramatic, just resistance, quiet, persistent. Every step a small argument between what I chose and what I feel. This is where it always shifts, where the plan feels optional, where the mind rewrites what the body can't hold. Hold the original, don't adjust, not softer, not slower. You knew this part before it began. Stay inside what you said. The rhythm breaks, then finds something else, not smooth, not strong, just forward through friction, through noise. The road doesn't care about comfort, it just continues waiting for whatever I decide to bring. I've changed runs before, made them easier, called it smart, but something always felt unfinished. Hold the original, this time let it stay as it is. Not perfect, not clean, just honest to the one who wrote it. Good version of me that planned this, knew this exact moment. The breath, the weight, the hesitation, it was all included. Now I see it clearly, nothing is wrong. This is exactly what it was meant to be. The line hasn't moved, only I have, and now I decide again. Hold the original and finish it, not faster, not stronger, just true to the decision made in silence before this run. The plan ends, but something stays. Not the pace, not the numbers, just the runner who didn't change. The plan was simple when I wrote it, clear numbers, no hesitation, no wants a softer pace, one less rap, but something deeper. Doesn't agree, don't change it now. Hold the line, this is the part that defines. Not perfect, not easy, just honest again. The version of me that wrote this was calm, clear, and right. Don't change it now, finish it as it stands, as it is, and something builds quietly inside. The plan ends, but I don't go back. There's always someone ahead, not far, just enough. A steady figure holding rhythm, unreachable, but visible. I didn't plan to follow, but somehow my stride aligned with that pace. Without thinking, I stayed behind. Not racing, not competing, just drawn forward by a moving target on the road. Chasing a back ahead, not to pass, but to stay close. One more step, one more breath. That distance pulls me forward. Sometimes closer, sometimes fading. The gap changes but never disappears. The road stretches between us. It's not about who they are, it's about what they create. A reason to keep moving. Chasing a back ahead, not chasing them, but chasing what I could be. That space between us becomes my pace. Maybe they don't know they're leading, but they are. Chasing a back ahead until one day the distance feels different. Not gone, just understood. And somewhere behind me, someone else is following. The plan was written in a quiet state before fatigue had a voice. Numbers placed with intention, not guessing, knowing what it would take. You understood the cost, the distance, the effort, where it would hurt, where it would fade. Still you wrote it down. Now the run feels heavier, breath shorter than expected. The mind stops questioning what was decided. structure waiting to be followed. Now the road feels heavier, stride shorter than expected. Breath arrives too soon. The body questions what the mind already agreed to. It always happens right here when the effort starts to matter. The mind suggests small changes, small exams. Don't rewrite now, not here, not when it hurts. This isn't the moment to change the plan. You decided earlier when it was quiet. The middle miles tighten everything. Breath sharpens, stride narrows. The watch continues indifferent. The plan still stands. Anyone can adjust once, but discipline holds when the easier path appears. Don't rewrite now, stay with it through doubt, through fatigue. Not perfect, not smooth, just honest to what you chose. The hardest part is not the run, it's trusting the version of you that wrote it. Don't rewrite now, finish it as it was planned, and something builds quietly inside. The planet, the runner remains. The session was written when it felt possible. Numbers placed without resistance. Pace decided in a calm mind. No fatigue, no doubt, just a plan on screen. Now the track feels different, legs heavier than expected. Breath arrives earlier than planned. The body questions what the mind already chose. Anyone can plan when it's easy, but the run asks later when everything feels harder. Run what you wrote when it doesn't fit. Not faster, not cleaner, just honest. The plan was yours before this moment. The middle reps test the decision. Stride tightens, breath sharpens. The watch continues unaffected. The plan remains unchanged. It's simple but not easy. Follow what you chose when quitting feels logical. Run what you wrote through discomfort, through doubt, through noise. Not perfect, not smooth, just complete it as written. The hardest part is not writing, it's doing when the body disagrees. Run what you wrote and something changes. Quiet, lasting, beyond this session. Beyond today. The plan ends, but the runner is different. The plan was written when the mind was clear. Number set without pressure. Pace decided before fatigue. A quiet agreement with myself. No noise, no urgency, just structure waiting. The first mile work begins. Lanes untouched, morning still settling. The session written clear and simple, no negotiation, just numbers, raps waiting in order. The first interval feels control, stride, light, breath and rhythm. The body remembers how to move, speed or rise without resistance, but it doesn't last. Training isn't about the first rep, it's about what happens when the pace starts to fade. Interval discipline is staying when leaving is easier. Not speed, not talent, just repeating effort on demand. The middle reps tighten everything, breath sharp and stride shortens. The watch doesn't care, it keeps counting, the plan remains unchanged. Anyone can run fast once discipline returns again and again when it hurts. Interval discipline holds the line when fatigue negotiates, when doubt suggests stopping. The runner continues. The last rep never feels right, but it reveals everything. Interval discipline is quiet, no applause, no finish, just effort completed as written. The session ends, but the discipline stays. Track under early light and lane still empty. The session written on the watch, intervals waiting patiently. No crowd here, no finish tape, just distance divided into effort. The first rep always feels easy. The body curious about the rhythm, stride finding old mechanics, breath control, the road still negotiable. But training isn't one moment, not 1 mile, not one surge. Progress arrives slowly, rep by rep, rep by rep. The runner builds not loudly, not quickly, just effort stacked carefully until the legs learn again. The middle reps ask harder questions, fatigue begins its argument. Stride tightens, breath sharpens, the watch still counting. Speed is easy once discipline, when quitting would be simpler. Rep by rep, the runner stays through doubt, through fatigue, through small battles. No one sees the work continues. The last rep never looks pretty, but it teaches the most. erased results still exist somewhere. Archive splits from another version of me. Light legs, easy breathing, miles open without negotiation. People said, "You're fast." Back then, I believed them. Now the watch tells a calmer story. Pace adjusted, stride reconsidered. Recovery days appear more often. Longevity entered the conversation. The road feels longer these days. Sometimes someone mentions an old race, old numbers, old pace, and I laugh a little. Fast ones, apparently, that's what the results say. Some younger runner with my name ran those miles, not today, but still part of me. The younger runner chased records today. I chase staying miles that stretch through years, not seconds. Consistency became the goal. Speed fades quietly, but the road remains, and runners keep returning. Fast ones, apparently the numbers remember, even when the legs prefer patience. Maybe speed was never the real story. Maybe showing up was. Fast ones, apparently, but still running today. And somehow that feels like the better result. The road ahead doesn't ask for. Not every pace arrives quickly. Some rhythms take years. Morning miles without witnesses. Evening runs after long days. The watch records, but the road knows more. Years ago I chased numbers, split times, felt urgent but distant. Changes ambition, longevity, just the rhythm. Speed was loud, but patience lasts longer. Some runners rush improvement, others let miles teach slowly. Progress rarely shouts. A pace built slowly doesn't break, it grows through repetition, through quiet miles, through ordinary days, until the stride becomes home. Recovery became training, holding back became wisdom. Progress hides in consistency and showing up when nothing demands it. Anyone can run fast once, but building pace takes patience, years, not weeks. A pace built slowly moves deeper, not louder, not rushed, just steady through seasons, through distance, through time. Speed impresses, patience punctures. less urgency. The road outside doesn't demand speed. Shoes tied quietly before the door. Morning air still undecided. The watch waits for intention, but today I choose patience. Years ago I ran louder, chasing seconds, splits and records. But distance changes questions, longevity adjusts the answers. The road prefers rhythm over noise. Anyone can run fast once, but staying requires something else. Restrain, awareness, a pace that understands time. The pace that lasts doesn't rush, it listens to breathe, to miles, to years, not proving, just continuing. Recovery became training, holding back became skill. Progress rarely looks dramatic, it grows through repetition, through ordinary returns. Some runners chase moments, others build decades. The road remembers which is which. The pace that lasts moves quietly, not faster, not louder, but steady through mornings, through seasons, through time. Speed fades, records change, but rhythm learns to stay. The pace that lasts belongs to runners who return again and again, through miles, through years. Not the fastest, not the loudest, just still running. Watch still measures every mile. Numbers appear without emotion. Once they were faster, easy to claim. Now the road asks patience. The body negotiates with distance. Stride adjusted, breath steadier. Years pass quietly through training cycles, intervals, long runs, ordinary mornings. Speed changed, but something refused to disappear. Not the speed of youth, not the reckless early miles, but another rhythm learned slowly through staying. The speed that stayed is quieter, not chasing seconds, not proving anything, just knowing how to move through miles that matter. The younger runner rushed the road today. I read it, fatigue, terrain, breath, signals once ignored. Longevity rewrites success, speed fades, experience remains, and the road recognizes both. The speed that stayed lives inside every decision, every adjustment. Not louder, not faster, but wiser through distance. Some speed belongs to youth, some speed belongs to patience. measured by the watch, but by the miles still waiting ahead. The numbers changed, but the runner didn't stop. Somewhere in memory there's a rhythm, light step, steady breath. Miles opened easily when I asked, splits lined up without resistance. Back then running felt simpler. Still counts, but the body answers differently. Recovery speaks more often, pacing changed, longevity rewrote the rules, but the rhythm never vanished. Sometimes on certain mornings I feel it briefly, the pace I remember moving through my stride. It waits inside the miles, not demanding, not chasing, just reminding who ran before. The younger runner chased seconds. Today I chase years, miles that last longer than one result. Consistency over speed. Returns in quiet moments when the road feels familiar, not the same, but close enough. The pace I remember runs beside me, sometimes ahead, sometimes behind, but always part of the runner I became. Speed fades, but rhythm learns to stay. Inside the breath, inside the stride, not faster, just deeper through years of running. The road continues, and somewhere inside it that pace remains. I remember those early years. Miles felt lighter without permission. Pace came easy, breath stayed calm, the road open when I asked. Back then I ran forward without thinking. Splits mattered every mile, numbers defined the entire day. Faster meant better, simple logic. Seconds felt like purpose, the runner I used to be. Believe that. But time has its own training plan. Distance changes the questions. Speed wants answer. The runner I used to be still appears on certain miles. Not racing, not competing, just reminding how far this road has gone. The legs today listen more, recovery speaks louder. Restraint replaced impulse. Longevity became the goal. Speed was loud, but staying is deeper. The younger runner wanted records. The runner today wants years, miles that last beyond one result. The runner I used to be runs beside me, sometimes ahead, sometimes behind, but always part of this road. Maybe I never lost that runner. Maybe the road just added another one. The runner I used to be still exists inside the miles, inside the memory. But the runner today runs farther than speed. The road changed, so did I. But the run continues. Somewhere back there, a faster version of me exists. Different stride, lighter brain. Miles used to open when I asked, splits answered without negotiation. Back then, speed felt normal. Today the road feels different. The watch still counts, but the body asks questions. Pacing change, recovery matters. Longevity rewrote the contract. But sometimes on certain miles I feel it just ahead. The ghost of my PR still running that old ribbon. The ghost of my PR runs beside me, not mocking, not waiting, just reminding who I was and who I still might be. The younger runner chased numbers. Today I chase staying, miles that last years, not minutes. Consistency over speed. The ghost never fades, it appears on good days, quietly pulling one stride forward. The ghost of my PR still moves through memory, through muscle, not demanding, just present in every honest mile. Maybe it was never a rival. Maybe it was always a reminder. The ghost of my PR doesn't haunt, it guides, not faster, just farther, through years, through miles, through patience. Somewhere ahead I still see the runner. Drifted without warning, legs moving but rather fading. The road stretched longer than planned, breath shortened step by step. No race here, no urgency, just a quiet weight of distance. Years ago I fought fatigue, pushed harder, ignored the signals, but distance teaches restraint. Longevity changes the rhythm. Now I slow before breaking. Running isn't only forward motion. Sometimes the smartest step is smaller, breath returning before the pace. Reset the breath, slow the noise, let the rhythm come. patience in quiet adjustments. A runner learns when to slow. Miles are patient, they wait for rhythm to return. Running is not speed, it's balance. Squeeze out the boot, find the stride. Let the run bring you halfway. Not louder, not faster, just steady again. Wind stops, breath, three sounds forming one. Reset the run returns. Fatigue softens the stride. Our lives not stronger, just calmer. Let's continue. One breath, one pace drifted. The street outside looks the same. No signal that today matters. Shoes by the door, watch on the table. Morning air, waiting quietly. The run hasn't moved yet, but something already shifted. Years ago I believed a run began with movement. Tap, start, chase the numbers, split by split, but time taught something quieter. A run begins before the miles, before the pace, before the rhythm. It begins in a decision most people never see. The moment a run starts is silent. No crowd, no countdown. Just a runner standing still, choosing to go. Recovery days reshape your patience. Holding back is discipline. Progress hides inside repetition, inside the habit of returning again. Miles will follow inevitably, but identity forms earlier, before movement, before effort, before fatigue. The moment a run starts is simple, a quiet step toward the door. Nothing heroic, just showing up. Sees distance, but runners know the real start happens before the road. The moment a run starts is invisible, before the watch, before the mile, before the rhythm. A runner already decided to move. The door opens, the watch begins, but the run started earlier. The road outside looks ordinary. Same pavement, same quiet street. Nothing about it demands started yet. Years ago, I believed running began with movement. Tap the watch, find the rhythm, chase the splits, but distance taught something else. The run doesn't start on asphalt, it starts in the quiet moment when hesitation loses. Where the run begins is not the road, not the mile, not the pace. It begins when a runner chooses to step outside. Recovery days rewrote patience, restraint became strength. Progress rarely looks impressive, it hides in repetition and showing up again. Miles will come inevitably, but identity forms earlier, before motion, before rhythm, before fatigue. Where the run begins is a quiet decision, no crowd, no applause, just a runner standing still, choosing movement. But runners know the real beginning happens before the first step. Where the run begins is inside a decision, before the watch, before the road, before the mile. A runner already exists. How the run begins is inside a decision, before the watch, before the road, before the mile. A runner already exists. Hasn't started yet. Watch still quiet on my wrist. Shoes tied, tight enough. Wrist steady but undecided. No pace, no data. Just a moment standing still. Years ago I rushed this part. Tap start and chase numbers. But time teaches patience, longevity, adjust the rhythm. Now I stand longer before the watch begins. Before the watch begins. Running isn't built inside the miles, it's built in the quiet before them. Discipline forms early. Before the watch starts, a runner is already chosen. Before the pace, before the splits, before fatigue arrives, the decision was already made. Recovery days taught restraint, holding back is skill. Progress rarely shouts, it grows through repetition, through ordinary returns. Morning air, empty streets, no witnesses, just routine becoming identity. Miles will come, but the runner was decided earlier. Before the watch starts, the story has begun. Now it's big, but we're showing up, not with effort, but with decision. The world sees distance, but runners know the hardest moment is quiet, standing before start. Before the watch starts, the runner exists. Before the miles, before the fatigue. The road only confirms what was already chosen. The watch begins run hasn't started yet. Shoes still by the door, the road outside unchanged, but the decision already happened. Before the watch, before the pace, before the first step. Running doesn't create identity, it reveals it. The quiet choice to show up again, even when nothing waits. No crowd, no result. Anyone can run once. Motivation is temporary, but consistency's a decision made long before. Identity is chosen before the run, before the miles, before the sweat, before the doubt. A runner is built in the moment they decide to go. Some chase speed, some chase distance, some chase silence. The road accepts them all, but the runner already knows why they tie the shoes, so progress rarely looks heroic. Just ordinary days repeating, patience over spectacle, longevity over noise. Identity is chosen before the run, not by pace, not by applause, but by returning again and again. The world sees the miles, but the runner knows the moment before the door that mattered most. Identity is chosen before the run, before the watch starts counting, before the road opens. A runner was already decided. Before the first step, the runner already existed. The run started without momentum, shoes tight but the mind uncertain, legs still carrying yesterday's effort. The road ahead looked longer today. No race waiting, no urgency, just another morning of quiet miles. Habit more than motivation. Years ago I chased numbers, split times, decided the mood, but distance rearranged the priorities. Longevity replaced impulse, pacing matters, ego softens, consistency became the goal. Most runs live unnoticed. No medals for showing up, just quiet effort building slowly, miles stacking without witnesses. This is where runners stay. Then suddenly someone said, keep going. A voice from the side of the road, not loud, not dramatic, but enough to carry one more mile. Recovery days taught patience, holding back became discipline. Progress hides inside repetition, the road rewards those who remain. No spectacle, no noise, just miles accumulating quietly. Men and alarms, evening fatigue, invisible effort, steady persistence. Most people never see what it takes to keep returning. And again, someone said, keep going. Just two words, simple, direct. But suddenly fatigue lost its grip. is mostly a quiet argument with yourself. Breathed steps, mind, but sometimes another voice ends the debate.